All right, here we go with another of the Final Fantasy Tactics All Archers Challenge Run. This is Underground Book Storage second floor here at Orban Monastery. We are taking on a couple of indoor battles here, so we'll see how those go with our archers. We are able to get a little bit of height advantage, and when you have the archers runs like this, getting height advantage is really what it's all about. Anytime you've got archers, you want to try to get that high ground, and if you have a positional disadvantage, it can be really ugly. So luckily, these floors do have some verticality to them, and generally, you start on the upstairs side of things, as you can see here. We have a pretty good position advantage, even though they've got a lot more muscle. They've got a lot more muscle on us. Rams is going to get things started. He's going to go after this Lancer. We can arc arrows over that the spot in the steps. And I'm looking for a good position to move Ramza, where he can still be popping enemies and generally be out of the way. I'm trying to spread that damage out again. When you have kind of a weaker class like this with fewer hit points, you've got to spread that damage around, especially in the first couple of rounds. Once you get a couple enemies down, then you can relax a little bit. You can let it slide just a little bit once you get a few enemies on the ground. But early game, you don't want to have one of your units die in the first or second salvo of the enemies, till you can get a couple of them on the ground. So moving Christy around here, she can get into position to hit that first Lancer. And it would be nice to either knock him out or knock him into critical, where he's going to retreat and maybe also burn up a chemist action to heal him, rather than have that chemist popping me with a gun. But as it is, we are able to gang up and with all of our arrows combined, take out that Lancer. With every arrow we had, he's down. It also creates a little bit of a barrier on the steps there, so for those units that have just a move of 3, that can be a barrier for them in getting up. Whenever you have a bottleneck area like that, it's always good to have a dead unit sitting there. This Time Mage down here has a chance to have Summon Magic, and indeed that appears to be the case with that one on the bottom right. It has found a good use for its Summon Magic in targeting my units up on the top. And here comes Shiva. Shiva was the killer of so many of my attempts at Barious Hill earlier in this game. So, luckily, it's not a one-shot kill like those summoners had in Barious Hill. They were able to just about take an archer out in one shot there with their magic power. And now we can start working on these other Lancers, and because we're not moving, we are getting turns a lot more quickly. So we're taking advantage of that archer speed. And then we're also setting our CT up higher than the enemies are. When they move and attack or move and act, they are not getting their CT advantage that we are. Now these Lancers, they're not trying anything because they can't get to us yet. And Christy wisely is going to move back here to kind of force the Time Mages to come up and hit us a little bit more. And when they get up into range, they're a lot more vulnerable, as you can see. Ramza can just about take this one out. It's just shy, though. But now my other archer can finish the job here, even though the compatibility is not so good on that other archer. Doesn't matter. That must have been worse compatibility. I haven't been checking my my zodiac signs. I've been shirking my duties of doing that. Speed save, always helpful. Get that turn faster. Got both Lancers up here, so now we're getting into the meat of the battle here. They've got 2 enemies on the ground. I have everybody up, but the hits are starting to come in. And both of those Lancers are up here, and they can take a lot of damage, each one, so you got to kind of prioritize what you want to do. If I'm going to be going after these Lancers that already weakened a little bit, I didn't want to waste a turn arcing it over. If I really wanted to hit him and moved him back, I wasn't as familiar with the with checking to see if it'll hit the unit behind, because these bows have such an unpredictable whether or not they arc over a unit or not. Sometimes they fire directly through and you can do the old crossbow trick, and sometimes not. I did find, curiously, that the auto battle can detect that. If your characters are on auto battle, when I've been using that in random battles, they've been detecting what to do there, which is curious. So checking my charge chart again to see if I can maximize the efficiency of my actions. I'm trying to get them down as quickly as I can. And again, we're by weakening these Lancers, we're also hopefully going to manipulate this chemist not to use a gun if he has one, but he does not. I was just checking what he had. That was the big question mark, is does that chemist have a gun or does he have a knife? So because he has a knife, that really helps out the cause here. I don't have to worry about him getting into range for an attack. He just might be throwing Phoenix Downs and things around some of the dead guys. Although at this point, I think he would have thrown a Phoenix Down at that dead Lancer if he had it equipped on himself. So there's that Lancer, was marked for death. The other one here is on the weaker side. He's going to go after my female archer there. She does get a speed save out of the deal, but she's still on her feet. And with a battle like this, I didn't necessarily intend to have everybody alive at the end, but because we're spreading the hits out a little bit, I don't think we're going to lose any units at this point. The Time Mage there is going to target a Shiva, and that will likely take out poor Christy there. But it did make him eat up another big chunk of his hit points, and now he doesn't even have enough hit points to cast Moogle. I can see that. He is no longer a threat in this fight. He could come up and whack me with his wizard staff, but he is no longer a threat to do any summons. And I'm just trying to see where I can go. I can pop him there. And I'm seeing just how much I can get onto him. Swift is a very appropriate name for a Time Mage, huh? And he can get the back of that Lancer there without having to move. And we do get some free actions here. So he's going to charge +1. That gives you one more multiplier, by the way. One more multiplier on your attack. So it doesn't always necessarily with bows, because they have that average, it doesn't always give you a big boost or a noticeable boost, especially if you have bad compatibility where you have more divisions getting rounded down. Anytime you have divisions, you always risk getting the wrong end of the round down anytime you're dividing in this game. So you'll have that. So now everybody's charging up. And it's a tricky task keeping track of hit points when when you have multiple characters charging, to kind of remember, all right, who is scheduled to take this much damage? Who's scheduled to take this much? Is this one marked for death? Meaning will this unit die once that charged attack goes off? So do I need to not waste my actions right there? Now, that was a curious choice. He went for Steel Helmet there. He went for Steel Helmet. He didn't go for a physical attack. Despite being where we are in this fight, he did not go for a physical. Nor did he try to defend himself, although he did get himself into a corner there. But he still can be attacked by my archers if they move into position. We're just going to snipe that Time Mage out and get him out of the way. In hindsight, that probably wasn't the optimal choice to make there. Because he didn't have any MP left. He was just likely, if he got any more actions, likely just going to sit down there until he was the last unit remaining. He didn't have a good way to help himself out. So in hindsight, I should have probably gone after the Chemist or the Lancer with that attack. Moving Ramza here, I hoped would get him blocking that crystal from the Chemist, because I didn't expect the Chemist to be able to jump up the stairs that high to get that crystal. And either way, my other archer was able to pop him, and the other archer was able to move down and grab that crystal. Checking the abilities, nothing that I need. and he hadn't taken a hit, unfortunately. I've got my female archer on the ground there, Christy, and my other archers taking hits and punches and jabs. Agrius is going to move into position to take out this Lancer, seeing just how much we can do with our charges. Would have liked one more multiplier there, but that's okay. That Lancer is going to take one more action here. Now he's going for the physical attack. If he had done that before, he could have had a dead archer on his hands. And with Christy there at 0, I'm going to move into position to take the finishing shot. And boy, I'm glad I have Concentrate. Here we go. And that is Underground Book Storage, 2nd floor. On we go to fight Izlude on Underground Book Storage, 3rd floor.